Welcome to another video in the series, and today's topic is Traffic Manager. It is a big topic. It will not be covered in a single video, but we'll go step by step so that we could have all the understanding which is needed to work with Traffic Manager, which is needed to have a good conversation with your customer. Because once you are good with the concept, with the different aspects of the Traffic Manager, you are good to go with all kind of conversation with your customer. So let's get started. Till now, we have already understood Traffic Manager is a global kind of load balancer where we need to load balance the traffic in between the different regions. This is what we have learned in previous videos where we were talking about all the different options we have in Azure for the load balancing. But today we are going to understand exactly what it is and how exactly it works. So in order to do that, let us just define Traffic Manager is a DNS based traffic load balancer. DNS based traffic load balancer. You decide whether it's a load balancer or just send the traffic as per the DNS information and various routing methods. But it is a load balancer in the aspect like whenever user request to traffic manager as per the routing methods, it will divert the traffic to their respective region. Okay, so there is a like kind of debate. It's not load balancer, it is just DNS redirection, things like that. Doesn't matter. Traffic manager is DNS based traffic load balancer because load comes, it will balance the load as per the routing methods. Okay, that enables you to distribute traffic across your public facing application, whether they are hosted within Azure or outside Azure. So public facing means PIP, right? And not only Azure, but Azure plus others, could be external, could be different other cloud, right? All right, so by directing client requests to the most appropriate service endpoint based on your chosen traffic routing method, so Traffic Manager ensures high availability and responsiveness for your applications. Now, this is what I was talking about. So if a user request comes here and the routing method is, let's suppose, priority, and the first priority is US, second is Europe, so all the traffic will go to the US. So if you see, it's not exactly load balancing, it is diverting all the traffic to this site. Let's suppose this is site number one. Okay, so all the traffic will coming here, site A, and this is, let's suppose, our site B or failover site. When this goes down, okay, this goes down, it will start sending the traffic here. Right, this is why I said at the beginning, not exactly load balancer, but yeah, you got the point, right? Diverts the request as per the routing method, and it also ensures high availability and responsiveness for your application, because if this goes down, it will send the request here, for example. Right, so just for the audience, this is Traffic Manager that we have created, and we have three different regions in different geographies, you could say US, Europe, and India, because that's where we use Traffic Manager. If it is inside the region, we have load balancer and application gateway. So let's define this again. Traffic Manager is DNS based global traffic load balancer that directs user requests to different service endpoint based on the defined rules and endpoint health status. Yeah, so inside the Traffic Manager we have routing methods, right, and information of endpoints, right? So as per the routing method, it would send the traffic, right, to the respective endpoints. So what it means, it simply means it is not exactly handling the traffic directly, it is uh, just diverting it to the right direction. Okay, but rather it returns the best endpoint DNS resolution to the client, which means, let's suppose this guy sits somewhere, uh, let's say somewhere here. Okay, this is his laptop, and over the internet this guy Try to access, trap goes here. We have a public DNS somewhere, right? Where we have configured the, this is DNS, where we have the information of traffic manager as a CNAME. So this will go to traffic manager, and traffic manager will see the routing methods and find the appropriate endpoint and send the information of appropriate endpoint IP address here. Now this guy will go to that IP address directly. It will not go via TM, right? This is what I'm trying to explain. I hope it is clear now. So TM does not directly handle user traffic, but rather it returns the best endpoints DNS resolution to the client, allowing the client to connect directly. Okay, so I think this part is absolutely clear. Now let's go and let's remove this piece. Okay, okay, okay. All right, and start talking about the components of Traffic Manager. What are the components of the Traffic Manager which makes Traffic Manager Traffic Manager? So the very first thing is Traffic Manager profile. Okay, when we do not create Traffic Manager, we create Traffic Manager profile. So if we go to Azure, here we type Traffic Manager, you see we have an option of Traffic Manager profiles. So you create Traffic Manager profile, and it requires the name, resource group, and the routing method. These are various routing methods that we talked briefly in our very first video of load balancing. And here is the location. Okay, so we have profiles. This is the very first component, and this traffic manager profile has the information of routing method we just saw, and the endpoints, and of course endpoint monitoring like failover strategies. Those things are also there. Health probing, right? And DNS configuration details. DNS configuration details. All these things are there in the profile. What is profile? Profile is exactly the traffic manager. All right, let me show you. If I come here, you give the name and you create it, right? So I have a already created traffic manager profile. It wouldn't take much if you like to create. Once created, come here and we have all that information that we are talking about. The configuration, all right, routing methods, endpoints, monitoring. This is the monitoring of traffic manager. And here is the health probes and all information comes here. Endpoint monitoring settings, right? Because only then traffic manager will get to know like this is down or this is down and send the traffic accordingly. We as you see in this design, we can totally understand like we have created traffic manager profile with three endpoints at the back end. Okay, there are like three endpoints at the back end. All right, and we will get one URL, and we have to configure that URL in the public DNS so that it will divert the traffic here. So once we create the profile, we will get the URL as a traffic manager.net something something that we need to put as a CNAME in the public DNS records. All right, so let's move ahead. Okay, so routing methods we have already talked about briefly. As I was saying, they were like performance, they were priority based, weightage based, and so on and so forth. We'll maybe talking about these routing methods in upcoming video, but this video is all about understanding the traffic manager first. All right, so if we talk about endpoints, let me show you this as well. All right, performance, weighted, priority, geography, multi-value, and subnet. These are the various routing methods that we have already talked about in briefly in our previous video. We'll explore in this one upcoming video. So, and if talk about endpoints, there are three kind of endpoints that we can add. We can add Azure endpoint, we can add external endpoint, right? And we can add nested endpoint, three endpoints. So let's try to understand what are three endpoints. So let's suppose this is US, and in US we do have Azure. Let's suppose this is Azure infrastructure, and maybe we have some on-prem infrastructure as well, which is publicly accessible application. So that would be the external, right? And Azure one would be inside the Azure Virtual Network, maybe, or maybe it is a PaaS service somewhere here. Let's suppose then that could be like app service could be Azure endpoint again. So Azure endpoint, which is hosted in on Azure, right? External endpoint like application hosted outside Azure on premises or another cloud provider like AWS and GCP. And the third endpoint, which was interesting, was the nested one. So Azure, external, and nested. Now, nested one, Azure we understand external, which is not Azure nested, is something really interesting. So we need to understand this nested part first. So let's take this example. This will help us to understand nested. So as name says nested, you can understand uh, uh, a nested endpoint in Azure Traffic Manager is when one traffic manager profile act as a parent and uses another traffic manager profile as an child endpoint. This is useful for hierarchical traffic routing and multi-tier failover that we can easily understand with this example. Let's suppose there is a traffic manager, okay, or the same like we have US and Europe maybe and Asia maybe, okay. Now in US we have like two regions, US 1, US 2, maybe in Europe we have Europe 1 and Europe 2, and in Asia maybe we have Asia 1 and Asia 2, okay. Now this is USA, this is Europe, and this is Asia, okay. This is US 1, this is US 2, similarly this is EU 1, this is EU 2, and this is Asia 1 and Asia 2. Right now you'll the picture is clear in your head, right? Now we may have the different traffic manager profiles here as well, okay. So this is TM as parent, we have this TM as child. Same goes here, this is again TM child, and same goes here as a TM child. All right, now how it works, user request whatever it is, XYZ ABC. Here is the user. Oh, it's a pretty big laptop. Here is a user who tries abc.com or something like that. So it will go to the global traffic manager, the parent. This will handle it, okay. Now based on the routing method like performance or weightage or priority, traffic manager selects the child profile. Let's suppose it select the US one, this profile. Then child profile selects the best server. Maybe this guy selects the US one. Now user, and once they select the user one, the information goes to this, the IP address information, okay. And now this guy directly connects to US one, okay. So now you get it. Instead of, because it would be tough to find, so they are nested profiles. So this will send to one region, and it has multiple region. It will find, let's suppose it is performance based, which has the low latency. It will send the IP and will connect to that particular region. So if you're wondering like why exactly are we using it, the very first thing is better traffic management, right? Because it is so granular, segregated, and each region can have its own failover and routing logic as well. and scalability because it helps organize large scale architecture efficiently, so well organized, and it reduces DNS lookup times by grouping endpoints logically, so it reduces or improved performance rather, improved performance. Anyways, so if you got the point of nested endpoint, we'll go deeper into the nested endpoint maybe later, because today it's the time to understand the traffic manager as much as we can from the concept basis, from the understanding basis. We need to understand this piece. I just wanted to reiterate myself. Azure Traffic Manager does not replace public DNS. Okay, this is public DNS, but it is complementary because because we configure like CNAME here so that traffic comes here and it will give the information back, like act as a DNS resolver. Okay, so you need to update your domain registrar, whatever it is, GoDaddy, Cloudflare, Azure DNS, etc., to point your domain name to the traffic manager profile. Okay, now with this, I think we do have a pretty good idea how what is traffic manager and how traffic manager works, right? So just to refresh, traffic manager works at, if we talk about layer, like layer 4 or layer 7, which layer you think it would be? If you're saying DNS, well, DNS work on layer 7. So yes, TM operating at DNS in layer 7 at the DNS level. So traffic manager doesn't directly handle client traffic. Instead, it uses DNS responses to direct clients to specific service endpoint based on configured traffic routing methods and the health of endpoints. Clients then connect to the selected endpoint directly by passing traffic manager in the actual data path. Okay, bypassing. So we have understood all these points, even the different endpoints, even the nested one. All right, so what else? Well, I think this is all about for this video for the introduction of Traffic Manager. Now we have understood how exactly Traffic Manager works, and in upcoming video we'll explore the various other aspects of it. Right? So I think it was informative and you guys liked it. You learned something new today. Thank